I think a lot of people are asking, why am I in Virginia? And why am I tasting all these wines from all over the United States? You know, when people think of American wines, they tend to focus on California or perhaps Oregon or Washington. But I realize that now, in fact, wine's made in every state. So I wanted to really go out and taste wines from different states and find out if there really are great wines made, what's going on, and this is a story that has to be told. The idea of the American Wine Revolution tasting came from a very good friend, Bill McIlhenny, who's been traveling across the U.S. tasting wines, but also one of my contributing editors, Stuart Piggott, who's been in the U.S. for 5 years on and off and tasting wines from different places like New York's Finger Lakes, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and we decided it was time to get together and do a large tasting of wines from around America.
Well, as usual, the idea came from James. Sure, I said some stuff about what I'd been tasting in New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and he did a lot of thinking and said, let's not just do a few small reports, let's look at the big picture and figure out what is happening to American wine now.
Wait a minute. I remember very, very clearly the first moment James mentioned this idea of this, this great American tasting to me, and I actually had to stop and just sort of suspend my disbelief that this hadn't been done before. And then I started to think more about the American wine story, and I realized it is so dominated by the West Coast iconic regions. It's actually, as a critic, it's a rare kind of joy to come somewhere where you have no baggage, no preconceived ideas, you don't know any of the producers, you probably have tasted less than 1% of the wines. For me as a critic, that is a really, really good moment, because you just have your palate and you have the knowledge and the context you bring, and you have a wine in the glass. To have three palates, myself, James and Stuart, all in the same room, we're blind tasting, but then pulling wines out of the lineup that we think are interesting or we want to reference against each other, and having those discussions, that's what great tasting's all about. It's really a team exercise that we've come here to do.
I have to say, before I started the tasting, I was a little bit worried. I thought we would taste a lot of wines with common winemaking flaws. Wines would be like home winemaking. They wouldn't be serious. In fact, I was terrified.
That's tar, lots of tar.
Yeah.
What we found was certainly a picture like that, but some of the states that impressed me, I had no idea that those wines were being produced.
The surprise for me has been that the base level of quality across, different varieties, different states, and different styles has been very strong.
I hope that this American Wine Revolution tasting is going to open the eyes of so many wine consumers in the United States as well as in the world. I hope that people will embrace the idea that American wines aren't only made in traditional places, or let's say more popular or reputable places like California, Oregon, and Washington, but that actually there's a whole wine culture of winemaking across the United States that we should all embrace. And that in the future, we're all going to be just as excited drinking a Colorado Syrah or an Arizona Sangiovese as a Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. And that's really exciting and really valuable for the future.